warm welcome to the beautiful Sunshine Island off Menorca. It's the 5th time the 52 Super Series has been here, and we're here racing for the Royal Cup, one of the most prestigious trophies in world yachting. We have 9 boats racing representing 7 different nations. Pravetsa come here with a 7-point lead, having won 2 regattas so far. It's very open, very challenging conditions, and anyone could win here. Well, great conditions for the first race here in Menorca. 13 knots of breeze, very open race course, no geographic influences. Off the start line it's super close. Good start from Pravetsa, Platoon, also Quantum go well. Up the first beat at the top mark it's Pravetsa leading from Platoon. The penalty for Quantum Racing and also for Gladiator, both have to take their turns, but down through the leeward gate there's a split between Pravetsa and Platoon. Platoon take the lead round the top mark and go on to win. Pravetsa gets second and Team Value get third. Just a little bit less wind pressure for the start in the second race. Not easy to steer the boat upwind, but a good start from Sled and Allegra. They go on opposite sides of the upwind. Round the top mark it's Sled leading from Allegra, Platoon in third, and that is the positions all the way around the course. Sled actually open out a little bit more on the final run. Allegra gets second, Platoon in third, and so Platoon lead the regatta.
It was a fantastic day for us today to start like that, and we still with our good mode here in Menorca.
Boat's going well, and we're confident with our speed, so we'll just see what happens.
So the Menorca 52 Super Series Royal Cup standings after 2 races. Platoon lead on 4 points, second are Sled on 6 points, Allegra are third also on 6 points. Menorca delivers on the first day. Join us again for the second day.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, give me a countdown, please. 3, 2.
Another beautiful afternoon here in Menorca. It's coming into the third race of the Menorca 52 Super Series, the Royal Cup. This is the standalone trophy, which is up for grabs each season. It's also the third regatta of the season. We pass the midway point of the season during this regatta. So on the water we have great conditions for this first race of the day. We have about 10 to 11 knots on the start line. Breeze is at 0.75 degrees, a little bit further right than yesterday. But we have this chop which so many of the sailors spoke about yesterday. It's quite bouncy, and it was quite difficult, particularly going upwind for the helmsman to really keep the boats moving. So yesterday we saw an outstanding performance really from Platoon, from the Harmuller Spears team. We've won here in 2019 and 2021. Won here twice before, and they won the first race, took third in the second race, and so they lead, I think, by 2 points at the moment. Good performances also yesterday from Allegra and Sled, which aggregated 6 points apiece, and they really are contenders here. Now the first mark on the first race yesterday was certainly, I would say, the closest mark grounding, or one of the closest mark groundings we've seen this season. We saw penalties straight away for Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, and also for Gladiator, and that really did kind of upset their days. Quantum came away with 2-6 yesterday, and so they really have to make today count. So breeze is looking nice and solid with great conditions, but so much depended yesterday on the start line, getting off the line with maximum pace, and ideally with a little bit of space to really hold a lane. So we're just looking to see how things are shaping up at the moment. We have Value started off the pin in the first race. They seem to be doing something similar this time, trying to hold the most left-hand position of the fleet. Value and Alpha Plus tacking up to the line on port. Pat Breck going a little bit back at them on starboard just to protect their position. So it's looking actually quite busy in the left group, if you like. Quantum actually have a nice position just now if they can just hold that and stay high. Keep their runway clear to leeward from sled. Meantime, Pravetsa holding up all of the boats at the committee boat end of the line. John Cutler, really excellent starter. Just being told to slow down a little bit, and they're just holding position just now. The key moments for them is just to pull the pin at the right time and close the door, keep the door closed at the committee boat end of the line. They're doing that. Allegre, I think, will get down, but Platoon are the boat which are held at the committee boat end of the line. So individual recalls, I think, yes, 2 boats going back at the pin end of the line. One certainly is Value, and I think also the other one was Alpha Plus. Now they were both going forward early in the piece. Nice start in the end actually. Platoon got out of that not too badly at all. In terms of positioning, the Pravetsa were keeping the door shut at the committee boat end of the line, holding up Platoon and Allegre. Platoon, as I say, have got out of it not too badly, tacked early, and they have a nice clear lane. They have Allegre below them. Pat Breck seemed to have come out of things quite well. Bow forward on Quantum Racing. So both Alpha Plus and Value having to restart, having been over the start line. Gladiator, we are alongside them. They're come off the line quite nicely, though they have to build a little bit of speed if they want to try and get across Platoon, if that were the case. But I think we'll see them just push out to this right side, looking upwind. So Pravetsa seemed to have got off the line in reasonable shape, certainly ahead of Quantum. And I think to windward of them is Sled. Gladiator now just trying to sail a slightly higher mode, I think. Certainly trying to squeeze up to the line of Allegre and less so Platoon. So yesterday this upwinded seemed to be quite open generally. Afterguards, the tacticians and strategists were talking about a slowly oscillating breeze. You really had to wait for the shifts and then use them and stay in phase with them. But really testing conditions for, say, for the helmsman, particularly on starboard tack, going more directly into these little short waves. But certainly in that second race yesterday, I think from memory, the top 2 boats coming from opposite sides of the course. Certainly no one side was paying yesterday in particular. Now then, second race yesterday for Preveza was not so good, having got a second in the first race, but they seem to have got themselves nicely positioned. They're leading the circuit just now by 9 points. Gained a point even so yesterday against Quantum. So Allegra have tacked and will be 2 or 3 boat lengths behind Preveza. Gladiator still punching out to this right side. I think afterguard on the platoon. Harm Muller Spear steering and Vasco Vascotto calling tactics along with Jordi Calafat. Seem quite content to push on out to this right side while they have a nice open lane. Good wind pressure. Harm was saying yesterday the breeze really is quite streaky, up and down, quite puffy. They're really a very settled and successful team. Twice winners of the World Championship. And I think 5 times on the podium over the history of the 52 Super Series, or over their history with the 52 Super Series. I think the breeze just building a little bit out on this right side, just watching how the platoon are setting up with Victor Mourinho controlling the runners, the accelerator if you like, and Dirk de Ridder on main sheet. Just winding on the tension as the breeze builds. I think they look quite good out in this right side. Vasco just putting a hand on Harm Muller Spear's shoulder and just telling him what he wants, saying sail a little bit higher. Yeah, a little lefty coming, a little lift I think for platoon in the meantime. Preveza going well, so too Patrick have been good off the line. Had a good result in the second race yesterday, as did Alpha Plus. They said Alpha Plus and Value, unfortunately, both over the start line, both jousting with each other a little bit at the pin end of the line to neither's advantage. So in terms of that battle for kind of second and third at the moment, for sure Sled have the upper hand over Allegra. Allegra just did not quite get off the line and were held up much more so by Preveza than actually Platoon were. Platoon came in and slightly later managed to clear their lines, get away from the start line much cleaner than Allegra. Of course, John Cutler, the helmsman on Preveza, top match racer in days gone by, and of course America's Cup helmsman. But for me just now it's Platoon that will have the upper hand. Gladiator have gone on a little bit further out to the right side. And now Paprec coming across on port, closing with Sled. Sled just crossing by about a boat length. And I kind of think we're starting to see a little bit of what Paprec can do with this boat, which they got the back end of last season. Actually the newest boat in the fleet. and racing alongside Sled at the moment, just squeezing up helmsman Cedric Chateau, squeezing up to try and impose the lead out on Sled. It's a nice close race between the two of them. And indeed, Sled have to tack off, forced to tack away from Paprec, about a boat length and a half behind Preveza. I'm starting to think that maybe this first windward mark rounding may be similar to what we saw in the first race yesterday, in terms of the first two boats. Yesterday it was Preveza led platoon round. Gladiator, good 40-50 metres to windward of platoon. Yeah, getting a better perspective now on the fleet. You can see a clear lead for platoon. Then it'll be close between Gladiator and Preveza. Quantum the best of the group on the left. Now we're going to head up towards the windward mark, and I will speak to you from there. platoon. Gladiator on starboard. Gladiator will have a couple of tacks to do to get up here though. And indeed platoon just ducking behind them. I don't think that's any great disadvantage. Platoon have got one less tack to do as it stands. It's going to be close. Gladiator have the inside position at the mark. Platoon are going to have to wait for them. I don't think there's any great disadvantage to platoon to just wait for Gladiator to attack, but first round will be Gladiator. Provezza just coming in on port, having to duck behind Quantum. So Gladiator lead. Provezza finding a slot somewhere in the middle of the fleet. Second round is platoon. Third round will in fact be Quantum racing, albeit a little bit of a gap. Also sled side by side. Quantum holding up sled momentarily at the mark. Quantum round, sled round, then Paprec. Yeah. Paprec, Provezza will be 6th. 7th is Allegra. 8th Alpha Plus and 9th Vayu. So certainly this occasion the left seems to have been favoured coming up that beat. Gladiator a slightly better start in the end, certainly cleaner and clearer. Platoon were just a few moments late, held up by Provezza. So Gladiator have gone for the jibe, or the early jibe. Provezza doing the same. And Vayu quite a bit back after their early start. So Gladiator went for the earlier jibe relative to Platoon. So too Provezza have gone early. So I think if anything, Gladiator looked to have made a gain down this run. Alpha Plus hanging in here quite nicely. Pushing hard, trying to get down to Preveza. Kite just on the curl. In the mix in the second race yesterday, same again for Alpha Plus. And starting to feel at home in this fleet.
Copy, danke.
I think Platoon started to get a little more wind pressure on that right side, looking slightly quicker just now, but really I think the gain has been to Gladiator at the moment. More pressure on this side. However, Gladiator not a great day yesterday at all. So I think if they could pull off a top 3 result in this race, that would put the smiles back on their faces. So a nice quick run. We have 12-13 knots. Of course, a good bit more in terms of apparent. You can see, or we can see Gladiator moving very nicely down this run. Just rolling into their jibe now, and most of the way towards the back of the bus. So Platoon roll into their jibe. In the end, I don't think any great gains or losses between the two leaders. Provezza still working out to the left, looking downwind. Nicely powered up. Still this chop, there's quite a lot of bounce in the Gladiator kite. So windward mark is now 080, so the breeze has gone 5 degrees right since the start. So a 085, so 10 degree right shift over the course of the first round. So you're maybe just hearing that in the background. 085 is the bearing to the windward mark. Now we started at 075. Actually, I think on that shift, then actually platoon are probably closer now to this leeward right-hand mark. Be a little bit closer coming in. Whether platoon can get themselves down to the 3-boat zone will be interesting. It's going to be close. All about whether platoon can get their jibe in now, and I think they will have mark room, or maybe actually just deciding to go round the back. And in fact, going to the left-hand mark, looking upwind. First round still Gladiator. On the right-hand mark, looking upwind. Platoon go to the left. And then actually quite a gap indeed, back to third place, which will I think be Sled. Possibly, certainly be close between Sled and Quantum. Actually, Quantum I think will be just, no, actually Sled on the left-hand mark at the same time as Quantum. Then Paprika and Provezza at the same time. Alpha Plus and Allegra at the same time on the left-hand mark. And Vayu have got themselves back into the race, but are still in 9th place. So this time Provezza tack at the mark, at the right-hand mark. So in terms of the regatta lead, things looking pretty good just now for Platoon. I say the top two boats really have a nice big lead over the third place, which is a real scrap between Quantum Racing, Sled, and the other boats not too far behind. This is looking like a chance for Gladiator and for Platoon to stretch. And as in terms of that battle for third, then Quantum right out in this right side, chasing Gladiator. Sled more towards the left. You would imagine the breeze will continue to shift a little bit further to the right. So I'd imagine that comes into the thinking of the Gladiator afterguard, having come round the right hand mark, looking upwind, pushing back out to this right side. Tony Langley, the owner, calling the tactics for Guillermo Parada, but helped by navigator Bruno Zerilli. So breeze still quite puffy, up and down. You can see the speed team working hard on each boat just to deal with the small changes in wind pressure. As I said yesterday, we have 9 boats racing this week. Slightly different dynamic on the water compared to our 11 or 12 boat fleet. Slightly more open, but just as difficult on the mark roundings, just as difficult to get off the line. There's certainly more chance to sail an open lane when you get it. So I think a Gladiator sailing him just into a very slight knock, a slight header, and indeed just choosing to take that one up, tacking now. I think we'll bank a small gain to them relative to Platoon. Nice little rivalry here, of course, between Guillermo Guige Parada and Bruno Zerilli on the Gladiator, and Vasco Vascotto on the Platoon. Long-time friends and rivals, or long-time friends and teammates on Azura, now rivals on the top two boats, but still great friends. Certainly Vasco Vascotto made a progressive impression on Platoon since he joined last year, but Platoon yet to win a regatta with Vasco as tactician, but maybe this is the one. Certainly signs are good so far. We're talking with John Cutler coming out before we came out in the water. Just say we reached the halfway point of the season here, and you're obviously asking the question how Preveza feel about the potential to win this season. And Cutler saying we're just taking every day, every race, every start as it comes. At the moment, Quantum ahead of them on this race. And for sure I think Gladiator gained a little bit coming around that right mark and coming up the right side of the upwind. And of course every place, every point is precious, but I think Platoon just now just looking to stay as consistent as possible, stay out of trouble. Beautiful scenery to leeward off the start-finish line. A little bit barren, we have these high cliffs. And the entrance to Mahon Harbour. We're to the northwest of the entrance. Certainly Mahon Harbour, the biggest natural harbour in Europe. I think that Quantum's starting to look a little bit more solid in third, but let's see when they get up to this top mark. So Gladiator leading still by 50-60 metres over Platoon, maybe a little bit less, but and it's also actually still quite close between Quantum and Sled. So Gladiator then 8th and 9th yesterday, and looking like they can put a first on the board just now. Coming round the top mark now. Meantime, Quantum going back at Sled and actually doing a big dip to go round the back of Sled. Again, it's risk management there. They could possibly have crossed, but it's just not worth the risk. So first round Gladiator at the top mark. They're just going to be at the just at the offset as Platoon get to the windward mark. And Sled have the key position inside boat. Coming into the zone now. Crevettes are going to come in on port. There are 2 or 3 boats between them and Quantum. Quantum coming round it in 4th. And Allegra just behind Quantum. And Alpha Plus. And Pravetsa, then Paprek, and then Vayu. So things not going quite as favourably for Pravetsa just now. 7th in that second race yesterday, and the same again just now. So I think potentially their heaviest 2 scores of the season so far. Puts a little bit of pressure on them for this next race. Need to break this run of deep finishes. certainly their start wasn't so bad in terms of positioning, but they just gave up a little bit of speed, having to hold up the boats to weather of them, particularly Allegra and Platoon, trying not to let them roll over them just after the start, but that cost them the speed off the line. And at the same time they still lost Platoon, because Platoon got through and tacked onto port almost immediately. So this will see Platoon extend their regatta lead for sure. Sled getting up to third, I think, is also good for them. That'll consolidate them in second overall. And things moving a little bit more in the right direction for Quantum after these 2 sixth places yesterday. So Gladiator rolling into their jibe. Maximum effort from the grinders on the pumps. Nice jibe. The breeze has dropped very slightly coming down this run. Not quite as strong as it was in the last one. Definitely also confirmed yesterday by a few of the tacticians and strategists we spoke to, just saying the breeze is lighter as you get down the course towards the finish line or start finish lines. So once again though, up to time. Started at pretty much on 12:30, 12:35. Should get this race done in the next 10 minutes. Graze is good, and so Menorca delivering very nicely over these, certainly over these first couple of days. Just watching the dynamics, the trim on Gladiator, just taking the weight to windward as the little puff comes in. We have this little balance now in the fleet between pro drivers and owner drivers. Not so much difference in terms of ability at all, except perhaps when it's like this, a little bit choppy. But Guillermo Parada, the pro driver on Gladiator, Harmuller Spear, owner driver on Platoon, and on Sled, owner driver Takashi Akura. Pro driver on Quantum Racing is Harry Melges. Amateur owner driver Andy Soriano on the Allegra, and John Cutler obviously pro driver on Provezza. So it's kind of 50-50 through the fleet at the moment, and certainly our owner drivers, I know, enjoy racing against the best. So in the end, looking like a reasonably comfortable win for the Gladiator, the British flagged boat. Just heading towards the right hand end of the line at the moment, and we'll just jibe inside the line of Platoon. So another good race though nonetheless. Only significant place change in the top three, top four is Sled getting up to third. Actually probably not much difference all the way around the course between Gladiator and Platoon since that top mark. So Gladiator through in first, next will be Platoon. And actually quite close between Sled and Quantum. May still be Quantum. Looking very much like it'll be Quantum. Quantum closer to the line. Allegra coming in with pace from the left. Where are we going? So will be Quantum getting third. Just got Sled coming down that run. That's Quantum through now. And actually Allegra may still steal the win from Sled. Allegra have more pace. Sled are a little bit slowed. And Allegra just have the momentum and will just sneak through. I think we'll just get fourth. Indeed, I think just pip Sled on the line. Paprick, sorry, Pravetsa getting sixth. Seventh actually is Vayu. Eighth will be Paprick. And in the end, Alpha Plus dropping to ninth. Seeming to end up away out on the right side coming down. So Alpha Plus will be through the line in the next few seconds, but a good win from the first upwind to the finish line for Gladiator. Platoon second and Quantum come through for third, passing Sled, who also lost Allegra. So Allegra get fourth and Sled fifth. So good race, and Platoon consolidating their lead at the top of the regatta standings. Join us in a few minutes and we'll go straight back into the second race of the day.
And go.
So the warning signal has gone on for the second race of the day. Nice and up to schedule. Sorry, actually 1 minute to go, I beg your pardon. Yes, we're right up to schedule for this second race of the day. Breeze much the same as it was as the last race finished. At 0.85, 1.7 mile beat. Platoon have consolidated their position at the top of the regatta standings. They have position 2 boats down from the committee boat end of the line. Privet's are going for a little bit more conservative start towards the pin this time, getting a bit more space. Quantum coming in at the committee boat end of the line. The final seconds, it's all about the speed build, all about getting off the line at maximum pace. Platoon getting a little bit buried this time. Quantum get a nice start, and also Gladiator as well. Ow! Gladiator start at the boat end of the line. Nice start as well for Allegra. Allegra bow forward on the fleet. It's all about how this shakes out in the next few seconds. Alpha Plus at the left end of the line. Get away nicely. Provezza buried very slightly in the second rank to leeward of Allegra. Quantum got off the line quite well in terms of positioning. Haven't had the best speed off the line, but tacking for position now. So Platoon this time, actually Platoon having to do turns, I think, and this is really costly for them, having just sailed through good races back to back. Platoon certainly 9th at the moment. Just when they needed to stay error free and penalty free. So this is certainly costly for Platoon. Meantime, Gladiator get off the line nicely, pushing clear of Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. Of course, no discards in the 52 Super Series. Every race throughout the season, from first regatta to the end of the last regatta, counts. So in the end, best start I think was really from Allegra. Got themselves into a nice position and good pace off the line. Provezza buried, and Platoon worse than that. Sled astern and slightly to windward of Quantum Racing. Actually, Alpha Plus didn't have a bad start at all on the left of the group, going out to the left. I think there's just a little bit more wind pressure on this right side, looking at the relative angles of Gladiator and the other black boat being Alpha Plus on that extreme left side. I think Gladiator slightly more powered up. It's a big separation between them. So Quantum in a position to build from, for sure. Got themselves off the line nicely in the end. So I think I'm just looking at Provezza over on that left side. Seem to have a little lefty perhaps, sailing slightly higher than Vayu and Sled, which are the two boats we're alongside on the TV boat just now. Wind pressure was certainly down at the start, only probably 8.5, 9 knots. We're alongside Sled with Mr. Takashi Akura steering. Don Cowie trimming the mainsail. Quantum sailing quite a nice high mode in the meantime, just trying to get up and onto the line of Sled much as they can. Doing a good job on Quantum of changing gears, these little puffs, keeping the boat rumbling, keeping it at max power. As we go into the slightly lighter period. Allegri going well though to the left of Quantum. So just highlighting their start really was the best in the fleet. Off that line. Vayu kind of in the mix in between Allegri and Quantum. Gladiator repeat performance getting out to this right side. Not quite sure that they'll be as good against Allegri. But certainly they like this right side. Wind takes Gladiator up to 6th place on the standings. Platoon leading by 4 points going into this race. They do have a bit of work to do to get back into the top half of the fleet in this race. However, we're only in the early stages of the first beat. Gladiator setting up to tack. Tony Langley first across the boat, legs out, maximum height. You don't see that from any other owners in the fleet. So maximum credit to Tony Langley, giving it everything. And I think potentially being rewarded with the lead just now. Just watching them going back at Allegri, they have the starboard tack advantage. first. So yes, indeed, Gladiator then just crossing in front of Allegra. Not much in it. Certainly a starboard tack advantage. Value and Quantum still quite close. Provezza for me a little bit in no man's land over on that left side. Allegra come out to this right side on tack. Settle and meantime Value tack again back out to the right. Pretty sure that's going to be our top 2, top 3 round. The mark will be Gladiator, Allegra and potentially Quantum. Certainly, I think more than anything in other places, you really have to minimise the manoeuvres in these choppy conditions. Certainly, just now the chop out of proportion to the wind strength. So actually coming back from that left side, Alpha Plus looking quite good. Started off the pin. Maybe in fact crossing Allegra and Gladiator. Certainly a little bit of a lefty, nice little lift for them. And indeed crossing Allegra just now. We're going to head up to windward mark. So windward mark, race 4. It's going to be close. Actually, Platoon have got themselves back into this race. They're only a couple of boat lengths behind the Gladiator. For sure, a little bit more on this left side on this beat, as we saw with the gain to Alpha Plus, who came all the way up the left side. Could be leading into this mark. New tactician on the Alpha Plus is Andrew Wills. They are leading to the top mark. Gladiator just threading their way through. So Alpha Plus down the top mark in the lead. It's going to be Gladiator second. Quantum will be third. Sorry, third is actually Allegra. Third is Allegra. Quantum Racing fourth. Thinking Platoon are in there in fifth. Nice hoist from the Gladiator. Sorry, Allegra, yeah, third. Quantum in fourth. Fifth is Platoon. Sixth, once again, is Pravetsa. Vayu and Paprek. Kite bag. So nice one there with the Platoon with the spinnaker bag up inside the kite. So meantime, we seem to have a problem on the Vayu during the middle of the course. Patrick trying to roll up over sled on the early part of this downwind. So quite right-sided down the run, as you might expect, in the left-hand breeze. So pressure on Alpha Plus then, leaders at the top mark. Sled have lost their bowsprit actually. I guess there was an incident with them and Vayu, and I guess. So Vayu, sled have no bowsprit. Flying the kite off the bow of the boat. So not sure what happened there, but for sure if Value have retired and Sled have no bowsprit, you can draw your own conclusions. So difficult then for Sled, with no bowsprit, limiting in how they can sail down this run. So in the meantime, as I said, Alpha Plus under pressure from Gladiator and also Platoon. Platoon fighting back into this race quite nicely. I think probably Platoon through Quantum and maybe Allegra. Breeze up and down, certainly getting lighter than we've seen. Getting softer through the afternoon. All the more reason why our race officer Maria Torrijo has had us out racing as early in the day as is worth it. So we're at the leeward mark now, watching the approach of Team Alpha Plus from Hong Kong, leading this race 4 of the regatta. They have led races before, but not been able to make it stick. Led in Scarlino from memory. However, they have a little bit of a distance, a little bit of margin on Gladiator. Gladiator looking like a solid day for them. Potentially a 1-2. However, it's a lot of racing still to go. Breeze is dropping. It's quite choppy for the breeze. You can see the kites bouncing in the chop, but Alpha Plus going very nicely indeed. I would say actually staying a little bit more powered up, staying a slightly higher angle than Gladiator. Quantum jibe inside Platoon. So the drop is called on Alpha Plus. And Alpha Plus going around the left-hand mark, looking upwind. Gladiator coming around the right-hand mark. So a great race going on for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Super close between Platoon, Allegre and actually Provezza coming back into it a little bit. I think Provezza have done quite well coming down this run. Now Platoon are going to come into the right mark, whereas Quantum and Allegre going all the way to the left mark. Now, unfortunately, Platoon's jibe's not been that successful. They're in the half jibe, half drop situation. However, it's going to be close. But Allegre then round in 2nd, I would say, but on the other mark. Provezza actually potentially 3rd or 4th at this mark. Platoon on the right hand mark. Quantum Racing were up there, just didn't make the best mark rounding and are actually very slowed. And Paprec and Sled. So Sled obviously slowed down the run with this problem with no bowsprit. So very open race this, with the exception of the top 2 boats. The battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th is super close, super engaging. And in fact I think Sled just threw a dummy tack at Paprec. Paprec tack off. Opens the door a little bit for the Sled. Sled just powering up for the chop for this sloppy, moderate breeze. So let's see how Gladiator fare against Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus going back to the left, which worked for them on the first upwind. They seem to be sailing quite high on this port tack upwind relative to Gladiator, but we'll see. Platoon, I think, decided to tack and bank what they have relative to the boats on their left rather than pursuing Gladiator. The Gladiator in quite nice wind pressure just now. Big cloud above them out to the southeast. I'm not sure that Platoon did so well after rounding that mark on the right side. Took them quite a long time to get down to the mark and get round. So actually, for sure, more wind on this right side where Gladiator are. For me, the left, looking a little bit lighter where Alpha Plus are. Gladiator, I'm sure, sailing slightly lower, but towards this cloud. So nonetheless, looking like a pretty good day for Tony Langley's team, one way or another. Lots of experience on the Gladiator. Chris Hosking on the runners at the very back of the boat. Andy Escort trimming the mainsail. So Guillermo Parada steering with Tony on tactics. Stir Fry, Simon Fry back on board after missing out in Scarlino with other commitments, and they're tacking now. So I would say quite a bit more pressure on this right side. Look at the angle that Gladiator coming out of this tack relative to Alpha Plus. I would say the breeze has very much collapsed for the meantime on that left side. I think affected by this cloud on the high right, however. In fact, Alpha Plus electing to tack early. But you know, by comparison, Gladiator of 5 on the rail just now, 6 on the rail, not maximum height. But by comparison, its legs in on Allegra were only just to leeward of Gladiator, and certainly not max height on Provezza either. It's interesting to talk with Guillermo Parada on practice race day, after the practice race, which they won the second practice race. They were neck and neck with Allegra, past Allegra, and Allegra retired from the practice race. But nonetheless, to say, Gage was just saying, you know, you can go out and get 2 wins one day, you can go out and get an 8th and a 9th. And the next day, that's the level of this fleet, that's how close it is. And kind of just proving that in reverse at the moment. Very modest start yesterday. I think an 8th and a 9th, if I'm not wrong, for Gladiator yesterday, and today, well, certainly a first and a first or a second, I think, the way things are shaping up just now. Still quite a long way to go to this upwind mark. I think what we're starting to feel is the effects of maybe the thermal breeze in the north of the island, pushing down onto this gradient. Breeze filled out slightly more across the course. I think Alpha Plus in something, moving a little bit better, but they had a few minutes that were very, very much slowed.
Michael?
Yeah.
Can I have the camera?
We have so many of these.
No. You're right.
So breeze really very up and down depending where you are on the race course just now, but for sure Gladiator through Alpha Plus. And I think we'll lead round this top mark. Allegra out in the right have really been quite starved of breeze. However, it's just really a case of staying super focused, working with what pressure you have. But Gladiator have done well to knit the breezes together, really. Stayed out on that right side, which indeed is where Allegra is just now, and they're not finding it. So we are approaching the last top mark of the day. Alpha Plus had a good lead on the top mark. First time up, they're going to be second just now. I think Prevets are getting themselves back into this race. Sixth at the top mark, first time up. Certainly the top three, top four match at the leeward gate. But really it's very light now, just watching Gladiator almost struggling to get into the mark. Just a little bit low on ley line. Guillermo Prada just going to shoot it very slightly. Lets the jib back momentarily. Comes round the top mark now. In the right hand breeze. They're set for a jibe set. So he's set for a bailaway set actually, but I think they're going to get the potentially get the kite up on this offset leg. Just holding it just now. So indeed they're going to be all the way down the all the way across the offset leg and be hoisted before Tony Langley calling the hoist, which they do, and they are indeed on the run before Alpha Plus get to the windward mark. Alpha Plus with a good lead over Allegra, who are third just now. Provezza up to fourth. Key for them though is really having Quantum behind them, and Quantum are actually 2 boats behind and sixth just now. So Provezza, Platoon and Sled not sure what's happened there, but Sled, I think Sled having to, so they're just going wide to get round behind the Quantum. Just a little bit of a header, I think, for them. And Paprec in 8th just now, and quite far behind Sled. So Platoon will hold the regatta lead, I'm sure. They're only one place or two places behind Allegri. I'm sure they're nearest contender for the regatta title at the moment. So still a bit of racing to go on this second day of the Menorca 52 Super Series Royal Cup. So if things stay the same as they are, then it will be Platoon still leading the regatta, but by 3 points from Allegri. But 2 aces today, 2 bullets for Gladiator by the looks of things. Maybe 4 points if Platoon can pull off a third coming down this run, which is looking like a possibility. Well split, well separated from Allegri. So Gladiator then yesterday an 8th and a 9th, potentially then today 2 wins. For sure Alpha Plus not giving up the fight, but Gladiator comfortably ahead. What's that?
Be real.
All right. Fantastic. So this breeze really has eased off since the start, and indeed since the previous race. We've probably only got 6 knots of wind, 5 to 6 knots of wind, maybe just a little bit more, but this wind really dying off. So it's all about picking your way down this last run, knitting together the wind pressure and the shifts. And there's some big differences in angles being sailed coming down this final run. Well, Gladiator have really been impeccable since they got through Alpha Plus. Probably a long time since Gladiator had 2 wins on the one day. If I'm not wrong, I think they had 2 second places in the final day in Saint-Tropez. Got them up to a share of, well, they were 3rd overall, but were tied on points with Quantum Racing powered by American Magic there. It's going to be a big lead in the end for the Gladiator as they come through. Yeah, indeed, Gladiator. Yeah, indeed, Tony Langley very happy with that day. High fives all round, fist pumps. Yeah, special day for Gladiators. Said actually they won the second race in Saint-Tropez to finish 3rd overall. And it's going to be close for 2nd and 3rd still. And Provezza making a late run in from the right with some pressure. Alpha Plus still hanging in there best as they can. But sailing towards the other end of the line, but actually Provezza are going to steal this one, getting across the bow, get a better angle down to the finish line, I think, though Allegra might just get there. It's going to be all about the last surge. And I think for me, Provezza get there ahead of Allegra, and Alpha Plus I think will be relegated to 4th place. That's from our angle here at the committee boat end of the line looking down. I think that probably Provezza got there, but it's very, very close with Allegra. Alpha Plus, I say, potentially getting 4th, and Platoon will be 5th. So that was all about the start really for Platoon. Regatta leaders were just caught on the line, had to do a penalty I think. Anyway, not a good race for Quantum either, who will Gets 6th once again. 3rd in the previous race, so a 9-point tally for the day. And we have Patrick and Sled. Sled, of course, racing with no bowsprit after that collision with Vayu, who have retired. So Platoon will still lead the regatta after day 2. Breeze has eased considerably over the course of this race. We're expecting lighter winds for the next couple of days. This Mistral and northeasterly wind direction has kind of run out of puff now. However, the day does really belong to Tony Langley's British flag team on the Gladiator. 2 aces at the Royal Cup is really good work in anybody's book. Pat Brett coming through in 7th, and Sled will be through in 8th, though I guess potentially looking for redress. I'm not sure. Been in this situation before. So that's our racing from Menorca at the 52 Super Series Menorca 52 Super Series Royal Cup. For day 2, join us tomorrow for day 3. We will be full-scale live streaming from the water and in the studio. We have 3 days of live, and we'll see you then.